right? I think we got it.
I think we got this. I think we got this. Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to Roll for Effort. My name is Jason Scranton, and I am here with the 10th level Black Belt Dungeon Master, Joseph S. Or do you say your last name?
Yeah, Sterling.
Sterling. There we go. Okay. I was like, I'm gonna like reveal people's secret identities on the internet now. So, how it is?
Oh, I don't have a cape. If I had a cape.
If you only had a cape. Right. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit special. We're going to be showing you how to build a character in the Five Torches Deep system, which is it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. It is worth buying just to stare at the art. I mean, it is that good. It has these.
All right. This is very outdated, but I had to Kilroy it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was probably awkward on the sound. There was all kinds of crazy echo. I apologize for that.
Nah, it's fine.
Watching if that got all crazy.
All right. Hold on. I'm going to shrink us down, and I'm throwing up the stuff here. So
those are special effects.
Yep.
I don't know if everybody caught me being shrunk.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
It was like, honey, I shrunk the role player. The Dungeon Master. Got very tiny because we do have the power to control the universe with our minds. So
come back, Rick Moranis. Come back.
Yep. All part of being Lords of Time and Space. Yeah, so Five Torches Deep is a gorgeous book. There are lots of channels that have flipped through it, but it has these just amazing art pieces here and there, and they're
so good.
They're just so good. So let's talk about
they explode when you pick up the print. You're flipping through. You're like, oh, cool, a table of contents. Oh, look, there's a credits page, and bam, full page spread. This full color, dark scene of you basically got one of each of the races more or less.
Yeah,
just all right in there. In the midst of a dungeon delve, perhaps they have gone 5 torches deep.
Yes,
you know the spiel. You've seen the reviews from far better folks.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
No, it's good. It's good. Art. And the name is a bit of a play on words, right? Five Torches Deep is a meeting point. It's a nexus between traditional 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons and the old school Renaissance community. It's like a halfway point. It plays very much like I don't want to say it's kind of like 5th edition. It's more like 5th edition for the first, I guess, 5 levels or so, and then after that, it's a little bit more OSR-y. And what I mean by that is that your chances of dying in this game are actually pretty high, as we learned. I've run over 20 games of Five Torches Deep using the Barrow Maze setting, and out of 20 games, we had 18 deaths, and I don't know how many limbs have been lost. A really high number. But it's a beautiful game, totally worth checking out. And
it forever will live the stub light.
Yep.
The one-armed cleric casting light in his ghost hand.
Wom.
I apologize if that's tasteless to anybody, but we had a great time with it at our table, with no disrespect to, arm amputees. Sorry.
Yes.
Character creation.
All right, character creation. So let's do this.
Shutting up over here.
All right. We may have been doing this out of order. Maybe we should have just dedicated an entire episode to talking about the system. But I want this video because everyone always wants to know, like, how do you create characters? So here it is.
Yeah.
Joe, give me a player name. What's going to be?
Ooh, a player name.
Player name. Yeah.
All right. Well, funny enough, I'm just going to go into. Love you, Kelsey. You're awesome. I'm just going to go into my tiny little arcane library Dungeon Master screen, which just happens to have a wonderful list of NPC names. Let me. I got a dice and a tray right here. So, what race are we?
I need to check my mailbox. I was waiting for that to come in.
What race are we?
Well, that's a good question.
This is wonderful.
Okay, all right. So that's a good point. So let's go back for a second. There are 4 races to pick from in this game.
We roll a d4.
Yep, we have humans, dwarves, elves, and halflings. And I love this. halfling. Like that'll for always be my favorite halfling. It's basically like a angry baby face. It's
Right?
so good. It's like blood coming off the side. I mean, you probably can't see it really well because the YouTube screen is small, but so beautiful.
It's a wee little savage.
Yeah, wee little savage. So what are we gonna pick, Joe?
Right? There's 4 of them. Do we want to just? I don't know if everybody can see that layout. You know, they're kind of laid in a square, or whatever.
Yep.
But I guess starting at 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you know
Roll
what?
die?
I want to create a magic user, so let's do halfling.
All right, halfling.
Yeah.
Perfecto.
Yep. And so the way that this is set up, so humans, they roll straight down the line 3d6s, and then you can swap up to 2 of those numbers. And then on the other races, they have. Oh, you know what? It's harder to be a mage as a halfling. Sorry, we're gonna do an elf. Yes, sorry, an elf. Let's do an elf.
Okay. Then I will stick with the same dice roll I had for the name and move it right over.
So elves are interesting. They just automatically start with a 13 dex and intellect. So, okay, race, elf.
Yes.
And they automatically start with a strength of 13. Or no, dex of 13. And an intellect of 13. Now, I have built kind of an auto-calculating spreadsheet. So that's why the number, these mod numbers down here are appearing right away. And you can find this on the 5 Torches Deep community site on Facebook. So, yep. Next, we need to roll 2d6 plus 3 for strength, con, wisdom, and charisma. And whatever order they fall in, that's exactly what the character has. So, Joe, you want to do the honors for the rolls?
Ooh, all right. It is a good thing I have a dice tray right here.
Yep.
All right. I'm rolling up some dice. So first roll, and this is a straight 3. That's 10.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was 3d6. You said it was 2d6 plus 3, right?
Yeah, 2d6 plus 3.
I'm rolling the wrong thing. Apologies, folks. Technical difficulties, user error, problem between user and keyboard, or something. All right, 2d6 plus 3 instead. So, okay, that's going to be a 9. That's going to be a 12 total.
Well, that's pretty good. That's a plus 1.
That's a good one.
Now, you don't have to play it this way, but we happen to play it so that if you roll a character whose net total stats are below 0, it died in birth, and you roll a new character.
In birth or somewhere in childhood, it broke a leg.
There's a tragedy there. There's a tragedy there. They didn't make it. Okay, so Constitution, roll the same again.
Yeah, this one's not so good. This one's coming in on 8.
8. All right. Well, we have got a pretty good. We're doing pretty good now for a wizard, right? Because we've got they've got a little bit of a sickly constitution. The intellect was automatically a 13, and then a wisdom roll. Let's get the wisdom roll.
All right, our wisdom is coming in at an 11. That's not so bad.
Okay.
And this is the 2d6 plus 3.
Yep. And then the last roll is charisma.
Ooh, and that's a 10. That's not too bad either.
That's a 10. Very good. Okay.
That's not too bad.
Perfect.
He lived.
He
did not break his leg and die through the winter.
Yeah. And in fact, that's a pretty good character. It's a +2 character.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
We're talking a total bonus
for this game. Now, what's really neat about this game is it's compatible math-wise with 5th edition. So you get proficiency bonuses depending on your level, and they're pretty much the same as 5th edition.
Yeah, they are exactly the same.
They're exactly the same, right? So like level 1, you're going to get a +2. And in this character sheet kind of tells it all. If you look at it, it goes straight down in a column so that the melee is right underneath the strength. And all you're doing is you're going to bring down the 1 from the strength bonus, and then you add 2. So your melee attacks are going to be a +3. And then dex, we do the same thing. It's going to be...
If you're proficient with melee. You're gonna add that +2.
Oh, well,
If we're making a wizard, he's not proficient in melee.
he, he
Maybe specifically in a staff, probably. I think.
actually. So let me pull up the mage page here. So
Yeah,
he's
so I was just flipping
proficient.
over to
So this is actually the better way to
simple weapons
that I found. It's simple weapons. He's proficient in simple weapons. And when you start off with a simple weapon. So I write that score in as that, and then I just basically relegate my characters to say, you're a wizard, you will only be using simple weapons. You're a fighter, you will only be using martial weapons.
Right. That makes sense.
Yep. All right. So
but yes, exactly.
Let me keep explaining here.
Sorry.
This character sheet is actually broken. I opened up the wrong version. Whoops, my bad. But we'll keep it for continuity's sake here. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to set your health, which is 4. Starting HP is 4 plus Constitution.
Right for the mage.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Now this is where it gets a little
we got
more
the low con.
Little more OSRE, right? So we have basically a 3. We have a 3 for hit points.
Yeah, I mean, if you go straight out of the thing, adding, plus your con modifier, negative con modifier. I mean, I'm pretty sure some GMs would be like, no, let's at least, you're at least going to start with that 0. If your con's a negative, don't count it, and that's totally cool. If you're a GM and you want to do that, that's awesome because they are going to scramble for those hit points, even if it's just 1.
Yep.
Trust me.
Yep.
Arms are going to fly. It's going to be like a Star Wars episode. Limbs are cutting off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
Yeah. It is definitely what I would call a grindhouse system. I mean, people are going to lose things. Cause that's part of this game is that when you drop to 0 hit points, when you're revived, you roll in an injury chart. And if you roll a 1, you died, even though they revived you. But it does have some nice balances to that in that, for example, if you're stabilized, you immediately come up with 1 hit point and you can continue playing. And if you have a zealot with you, the chances of being stabilized are very high because they have a cantrip that I think is a quick even where they can just like pop you up and keep fighting.
Yep.
An action economy is very similar to 5th edition. You have a quick action, an action, and then and a move.
Like a move, a quick, and a full action or something. I don't remember. They explained it very wonderfully.
Yeah, the whole book is very, very well written, easy to understand. All right, so resilience is going to be equal to your...
let's get back to making our character.
Yeah, resilience is going to be equal to the con score, so we just drop that number straight down.
Right. That's a great mechanic too.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry, we're making a character. We'll get back to zipping it.
Yep. Oh man, I'm gonna have to open up the right version of the character sheet here. Looks like that's broken too. Oh well, don't trust me on this sheet. All right, so supply is going to be equal to your intelligence.
Your intelligence, yes. Total intelligence.
Total intelligence, and this is super important because.
And this is your max supply.
Your max supply, right? Yeah.
And current for starting, and current.
And how you start the game, you start with that many supply. And the supply is a very key mechanic to Five Torches. It's what adds the survival feel into the game, because this game is about dungeon delving, very focused on wilderness survival and dungeon delving. And for every hour
survival.
For every hour that you're in play, you start losing these resilience. You'll drop that by 1. And as you use up equipment and rations and go into fights and you have to replenish your items, you start subtracting your supply, and you'll see what that means as we get to the actual items.
In resilience, it's best to kind of think of that in terms of like fatigue. Like the more exhausted you get, the lower your resilience. Pardon me. The more you've lost of your resilience, like the more exhausted you are, and it's just like you begin to trudge, then you begin to crawl, and you're just like, I can't even make it. Leave me here to die. I can't walk another step.
Right. Okay. Next,
Yeah, sorry.
arcane. So you're going to fill in the arcane with your proficiency bonus plus your intellect, and if you are a wizard, you are going to be proficient in arcane. So that'll be a 3.
Yep.
You won't know
because
anything.
It's a roll to cast, baby.
Yeah, it's roll to cast. There are no spell slots. Your cantrip spells cast automatically with no roll. All of your first level and higher spells are going to cast with a check. But if you fail that check, you're going to roll on a mishap table, right? So if I want to cast my arcane missiles at this one creature and I'm going to blow it away and I fail that cast, you're going to roll on the magic mishap table and you might just blow yourself up along with everybody around you. And this is where you get more of the OSR feel because magic can be deadly.
You really can blow yourself up and everyone around you.
Yeah.
If that blunder is the blunder of all blunders, you're just like magic nuke.
Yep.
And then it's just like vaporized.
Yep. Yeah, we've had situations. One of the examples on the chart is literally it just and they're nice because they let you storytelling wise just sort of work them in however they would happen. It just says collateral damage, massive collateral damage.
Did you say that thing turned inside out?
Yeah,
and it exploded.
Right, or all of your equipment melted. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
melted. All right, so wisdom. You're gonna fill in the perception box with the bonus from your wisdom, and we don't have a wisdom bonus, so it'll be a 0. The only other way to boost this is through archetypes.
Yeah, yep, through the archetypes, or there's some that you could add a proficiency bonus in with that, depending on what proficiencies you have. It could be greater than just your wisdom bonus.
Yep. And all of these. So let me flash back to that other page real quick here for the mage class. I won't show them all off because you should totally buy this. But it tells you here. You're proficient in spell casting, finesse, negotiations, and then your archetype. Now you're not going to get an archetype until you reach the 3rd level, but that's when you can start choosing whether or not you're going to be a sorcerer, a warlock, or a wizard. And then you could start picking, it tells you, it walks you through, at this level, you're going to pick another feature from your chosen.
Right. And now the cool thing that I love about this is you only get to pick one of those at specific times. So unless you make the same choices with the options they have, it's going to be a while before you play the exact same kind of that archetype.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them may not seem like the biggest of deals, but depending on the type of dungeon delve that you are going for or the type of game you are playing, some of these will get a lot more play than others. Focus wise for your game.
Yep.
So I mean, there are rad options, and there's a lot of them that you're just two characters playing a mage can both play wizard and still be dynamically different. Still have different perks, different directions.
Absolutely, and it's
the RP.
Ironically, it's all you need.
Yeah.
I at least that's what I've found. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen players in a really tight spot and they forget they even have these class features because they're thinking about the game. I mean, this streamlines it down. You're not there with a huge character sheet full of thousands of skill options and that kind of thing. It allows you to run a very focused and story driven game. And I would argue a very survival driven game. At least in our case,
survival driven. Because resource management's a big part.
Yep. Yeah, and it tells you you've got 2 ability proficiency checks. Con and intellect. You're proficient in weapons. You're allowed shields, and you. Well, you're not.
See, that's fun. Armor allowed shield. It doesn't say you are proficient in shields.
Yep, and the different classes all have different sort of rules for how that works, and that helps sort of define the real feel for the class.
Well, I guess they do all say all, so I guess I would assume that they have the ability to wear them, no penalty. I'm not looking for reasons to punk on the mage. Mages are awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right.
Okay.
But yeah.
So divine, my sheet auto calculates there, but we're not proficient in divine. So, I mean, this would be a 0. Charisma, we have 0 in. So it's kind of cool. This game takes seriously the idea that you could hire torchbearers or retainers, and you can have as many torchbearers as you have a score. And these are like, weakling cowards who will run away at the first sign of danger. But you might be able to get them to walk in front of you so they set off the traps and you don't have to worry about the scythe falling down into the ceiling. But then you got to pay off their family because they're going to be really upset that they lost their, their brother-in-law or whatever. But, it speaks to the kind of game that it is.
My uncle used to be an adventurer like you, and then he took a scythe to the face and died.
Yeah.
That's a torchbearer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it has some of my favorite rules too on how to command followers. It sets you up with some instructions on like if you have a charisma bonus, let's say you have a +2 in charisma, you could hire skilled adventurers to join your party, elite adventurers basically. And you can do a charisma check as your action to command that character to take an action. And if you succeed on your charisma check, the character automatically succeeds on their action. So you don't have to do multiple rolls, like, okay, I'm going to tell him what to do, and then he's got to roll his own die and la la la. None of that. You just roll the one time.
Our elven mage here just rolls a flat D20.
Yeah.
Because he's got bad charisma.
Well, he wouldn't even be able to hire an elite retainer because he has 0 bonus in charisma.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, and then magic items, no matter, you're supposed to carry down your bonus from charisma, but every player is allowed to have at least 1 magic item.
Yep, minimum 1.
One.
You can use a number of magic items equal to your charisma modifier, minimum 1.
Yep.
So if you have a 0 or worse for your modifier, you still can use 1 magic item.
Yep.
Everybody gets 1.
Everybody gets 1.
Just
1. All right. So now we're going to look at some of these corner stats here that I passed over. Load. Your load is equal to your strength score. Now that is your maximum load.
Max load is
equal to your maximum load. And now we're going to start looking at the equipment because this is where this comes into play. This game takes logistics very seriously because you can only carry so much. In fact, there are games where we have new characters that roll up that have low strength scores and they can't even start with all of their starting equipment. So they have to hire torchbearers to help them carry stuff out, or they have to hire or have another player carry their stuff out for them. So mage equipment, we start with a one-handed simple weapon. So I'm going to put that in here. Now the book gives you a list of different one-handed simple weapons.
Right? They kind of give you like suggestions or examples, ideas that you can kind of, from a game master side. I mean, I know we're veering off from character, but like you can kind of like supplement your own kind of lists or whatnot as well, and take a great idea from how the damages are set.
Yep. And it basically it does a really nice simplification of the weapons. Every single simple weapon has exactly the same stats based on the number of hands or if it's dual wielded. A one-handed weapon is always going to do D6. A two-handed is always going to do a D8. A dual wielding, you're going to roll 2D6s because it's 2 one-handers, and then you pick the highest of those 2 rolls. So very elegant, simple dual wielding rules.
It's like rolling advantage, but for damage. Rolling with advantage, but for damage.
I quite like it. It is
damage dice.
I think it works, to be honest. It keeps things sort of somewhat, you're going to do more damage if you're dual wielding, but it's at the risk of not having a shield to help defend yourself. So you're going to start with a one-hander, that's a 6. And then if you're one of those martial weapon classes, then you have a higher damage roll per each individual die, which is another elegant way of fixing that. So our melee damage is going to be 1d6. And these are plus your strength modifier. So you would roll a 3, plus 3 to hit. And then if I hit, then I'm going to roll a d6 plus the 1 to deal damage.
Strong mage.
Yep, pretty strong mage.
He's going to cast Fist at least once.
Yep. And this one-handed weapon is going to be worth a load. And a load is very simple. It is either an object the size of a human cranium, a human head, or 5 pounds. So we'll put 1 load down for our one-handed weapon.
So a bowling ball, generally it's going to be a load, at least 1 load on both fronts, about the size of the head.
Yep.
And at least 5 pounds.
Now, I like to live, so I'm going to take the shield for the next item. I could take a shield or a hunting bow. And
shield is a lifesaver.
Yep. So that's going to be another load. And on the AC, so you have a base, so all creatures have a base AC of 10? Is
10,
it 10?
I want to say.
Let's check back over at the equipment section. Oops. Again, this is super easy. So none, it's 10 plus dex. So I'm not going to have any armor like and it tells you over here too, just in case you forgot. You don't have to page flip as much. Heavy armor can only be worn by warriors and zealots, and has nice little rules like you're at disadvantage to stealth if you're wearing heavy armor, but you're walking tank. Okay, 10 plus the dex mod. I'm a lucky mage. I have a +1 in my dex. So I'm already starting on 11, and then I get +2 for my shield. So we are at a grand total of 13 AC, which is quite respectable.
Yeah, shields are no joke. They will save your life.
Yeah.
Or make it so that you only lose an arm instead of dying.
Right. Like ICRPG, you can sack your shield to help absorb additional damage points.
Yeah, I think in this case, it's stack your shield for, is it the amount of the AC, I want to say?
I want to say that that's right, too. I can flip back and look real fast. I think it's in here.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I think it might be in combat.
Yeah. Anyway, you can definitely sack your shield. It's in there. Durability. So you notice there's a durability column here. This is really more to the dungeon master's discretion as far as what these are set at. And a lot of the rules are written this way. The whole book is like it's 49 pages long. And that includes the art spreads. So it is a very rules light system in spite of being so detail oriented. So durability, like I as a dungeon master might say, well, that's these are both sort of like wooden weapons, so have a durability of 2. And if you have a critical failure at any point or critically struck, these durabilities would be dropped until your equipment might break. Yep.
And that could suck.
That will suck. That will suck a lot. So let's finish here.
Especially when that shield is gone, you will feel it.
Yep. Potionary glassware, another load. And that right there, right? Like I love in a game, the character sheet and the starting equipment, I think it really helps set the board for what kind of game you're going to be playing. This does a nice job of that. So Scribe's Kit, 0 load. Oh, cool. It tells us, and it's 5 to refill. So as a DM, I might let my mage work on trying to create a spell off of something they observed or found, and they would use their Scribe Kit. And then once they've used that Scribe Kit, they have to lose 5 of their 13 supply in order to replenish that kit.
Yeah, if they choose to use it again, it comes out of that innocuous supply, which isn't so innocuous because you actually have to be carrying it in your equipment for it to be considered part of your supply.
Yep.
For your trip, which is just superb.
Right, and so you're going to start off with 6 spell components, and spell components are refilled for a mage out of the
3
supply.
levels. 3 levels of spell components.
Yep. And chances are at level 1, I mean, you're going to be rolling, you're going to just be casting level 1 spells. So it's 2, you lose 2 supply. The easiest way to think about it is you're going to lose 2 supply per spell level, essentially, when you go to cast. And you've got your 13 supply, so you can always create more spell components out of that out of that number, but your supply is going to dwindle down further and further until you're going to have to find more.
And if you can manage it or work it in with the mage, the zealot uses it spell focus, which goes in place of spell components. If you can talk your game master into letting you be a mage that can use some arcane spell focus to supplement spell components.
Yep.
Power to you. That'd be dope.
In our last game, we did that.
Wand, Harry Potter style.
Yeah. In our last game, we did that. Well, I tried to make a devil's bargain with Danithar, one of our mages, and there was this idol of Set that they found. And I was like, the idol whispers to you and lets you know that you could keep this instead of turning it over to the church. You could keep this and use it as a spell focus, and you no longer will consume supply. But you have then this idol of Set influencing you, and he chose to give it back to the church. So,
the fool!
Good for him, but he could have done that. All right, so roll for 1 sundry, or I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. So 2 rations.
Oh,
Yep. And rations are useful. Different games play it differently, but I let my players consume rations in order to get back their resilience. They can get back a single point of resilience by consuming rations, and that comes out of your supply. It's 2 supply to get back those 2 rations. So supply per, real easy way to think about it.
And it's a cool way to keep it going.
Yep. And then so on page 47, it looks like here we have a sundries, and the sundries are these really neat. Flip to that real fast. This really neat set of items. Here we go. That are just like general dungeoneering, dungeon diving items. And these last 2 pages of the book are amazing. It's basically a quick reference guide. It has nearly every rule you need to know to play the game or run the game, all packed into 2 pages. So let's roll a d20 here and see what kind of sundry did we find. 18.
Treated sinew.
Treated sinew. Who knows? You could turn that into a trap or tripwire or
make arrows.
Yeah,
and,
lots of
arrowheads to the arrow shafts.
Yep.
Spear. I mean, there's a lot of things. Stitch leather.
Yep. And I'm gonna rule as the dungeon master. I'm gonna look at that.
Bind a book.
I'm gonna look.
Mage. Bind a book.
Yeah, you could bind a book. You could use it to create your own grimoire, your own spell book. Oh man, and then that could be your focus.
We got the sinew. We got the scribe kit already.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that. Here, let me read.
So yeah, we've got a spell book, but we're making a better spell book. This spell book is going to be a masterwork.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to roll. So
is it just the one?
The sundries, they don't tell you. They don't tell you what their load is. So you just have to use that common sense rule of, is it bigger than a human head or is it weighing 5 pounds? I doubt that sinew is going to weigh 5 pounds. So I'm going to rule 0 load as a DM.
I would as well. I mean, hell, there's probably like 50 yards of that. I've had, bundles of it for leatherwork here at home.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a Renaissance Fair junkie. Been playing a Viking for like a decade or so. But yeah, sinew for leatherwork. But I've had 50 yards, and it's just a small bundle, way less than 5 pounds.
Yep. And last but not least, it's not listed on your character sheet, or is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Oh. Let me jump back to the beginning here. Supply. There you go.
Oh, yep. Supply. You have your max supply based on your intelligence.
Right. And it is the same for every class, and it is 1 load per 5 supply. So.
Yes. So the supply you carry also goes against your load because you're carrying these elements in.
Yep. So ignore that 8 again, right? The max, so this character has a 13 intelligence, so they can carry 13 supply. 13 is less than 15, supply. So they're just going to be 2 supply.
Yep. Or 2 load.
2 load.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 load.
Count as 2
13
load.
supply, 2 load. Now we can calculate all these up, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not very difficult on the math level. So 6 load out of 12. So I can carry 6 load worth of treasure out of my dungeon when I'm done, which is quite handy. Every 500 coins ends up being a load is one way to kind of work it out, or piece of treasure that's worth 500 coins.
We are going to be rich and insanely powerful with the arcane energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to save this barrow maze from the foul sorceries that have gripped it.
Yep. And now, so experience, to get to level 2, we need 2,500 experience. And this game is gold is experience. In order to get experience, you must return to safety with your treasure. So again, traveling, it is very, very friendly to a hex crawl game. I mean, you don't have to do a hex crawl, but I find that this works flawlessly for that sort of setup.
Now it's got to be safely captured.
And it's got to be safely captured. Yep.
That means you go out adventuring, you get, 1,000. You've rescued 1,000 gold. You fight your way all the way back through, slogging it through that one last encounter, and you finally get back into town and make it to that tavern. Whew! You have safely captured 1,000 gold. You have earned 1,000 experience points. Now spend that 1,000 gold and spread your tale of glory to the townsfolk.
Right. Earn that renown.
Do it again. Yep. Go out tomorrow and do it again.
All right. We're not finished, Joe. We never wrote it down. What's the name of this character from the Arcane Libraries chart?
I'm gonna have to roll again because I totally forgot what I rolled.
Okay. All right.
All right, a 17. All right, so we're playing an elf, right?
Yep, we're playing an elf.
17. 17 for an elf. We've got Ophelia.
Ophelia. Okay. I'm going to spell it funny because we're a fantasy character.
Under rare, we've got Ramotanu. I think that's kind of cool for a wizard. There's a column for rare names.
All right, we'll go with that.
R-A-M. Yeah, R-A-M-U-T-A. N-U. Ramutanu.
Nice. Okay. So we have made our first 5 Torches Deep character. I might write down here the proficiencies. Oh, spells. I forgot. So we're playing a wizard. Last thing we need to do, we need to pick our spells. The 2 magic classes, Zealot and Mage, they have these unbelievably brilliantly concise spell, and the whole spell system fits on 2 pages of rules. It's very light,
so slick.
So we're gonna pick 3 cantrips, and remember, these just happen, and if you look at these cantrips, none of them deal damage. They're all sort of like utility effects, which I think is cool. It really focuses in on your mage being there to help support the group, as opposed to the primary damage dealer, which is really more going to be your warriors, honestly, and your rogues in this game.
Yeah, and you can definitely have fun with these. Just be as crafty as you are with any mage with your cantrips.
Yep.
All those fun little tricks with Mage Hand. I mean, that's kind of Legerdmain, but Legerdmain also has a little bit of extra uses.
Yeah.
Subtle illusions, I'm pretty sure you could kind of Mage Hand that.
Yep.
Teleporting coins, colors, there's all kinds of fun things you can do.
Yep. So I might just pick the top 3. There you go. You just go for it. Pick the top 3, and then you get to pick 1 first level spell. So I know in our game, our mage has sleep, and that has been very useful. Very useful.
2 hit dice per level.
Yep. Fall asleep for 8 hours. Although we have fun ways of torturing our players, though, too. I think they had these flying creatures they put to sleep at one point, but then they all fell and woke up. Kind of mean, but it happens.
Take damage.
Yep.
They wake up when they take damage.
Yeah. So, and then so if you go to cast charm, you would roll your arcane. So your D20 plus that 3, and then if you succeed, the spell happens. If you don't, you roll in the mishap table, and terrible things happen. Truly terrible things.
and since it's listed as an attack, for it to cast, it's an attack. It's actually against the target's armor class, and not just that base target.
Yep.
That 5 Torches Deep has. Yeah, so that's kind of a fun bit.
Yeah. Let's see. So we're gonna pick Illumination, Subtle Force, which is basically Mage Hand. I don't know if Mage Hand is copyrighted, but they're different. And Whisper.
If it is, we love their books. You should totally read them.
Yep.
They're awesome.
Yep. Totally.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's see. We were proficient in simple weapons.
Mm-hmm.
We were proficient in bargaining. So we've taken a long time to explain kind of how to build this character, but honestly, like once you've done it, you can roll up a new character in maybe less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have been chatty, but we are chatty.
Yeah.
No excuses. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Joe, you had a game, right, where you died and you rolled up a character and then rejoined within like 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Like the very next round, like you were ready to go with your next guy?
Yeah, I died inside the barrow maze. Everybody else was fleeing out of that, out of the interior of that large mound.
Yeah.
And then me and another guy, we both died in there. We both rolled up characters. And by the time they escaped and came out, we, with our new characters, came running down into the swamp because our party backstory had just been killed and swallowed by giant frogs or giant toads in the swamp.
Yeah, it happens.
And we were desperate for a new party. Yep. Hey, and Pravda still lives. Pravda is still alive, and so is Ugg.
Yeah, they're safely retired at the church. Good stuff.
Yep. Both of them are alive still.
Yep.
Surprisingly.
Yep. All right. Well, this has run a little bit long. Thank you, though, for sitting through it. This is how you build a 5 Torches Deep character. That's kind of an overview of the rules generally. All the specifics are found in the book, which we'll link in the show notes. And, please go and support this author. I would really like to see more stuff from him. And he's got some other great books that are out there, too. And he's done very well. Like you can tell that as he's published the books, he's gotten a lot better, with the layout and the structure. And it's, I think there have been some other reviews where they talk about it well, but I mean, he does this amazing thing where like everything is in columns, right? Like every single thing is in columns or on one page, so they're all collected together.
Yeah, you'll never have to flip a page to finish a section.
Yep.
Well, I mean, obviously Magic is going to be more than one page, but what you're looking at, you'll be able to, everything is right contained on that page to the end of that part. And then you flip and then there's a new piece of information.
Right.
I mean, it's wonderful.
Right. And like I was saying,
these full page spreads.
Yeah.
Oh, they're wonderful. They're badass.
And those 2 reference pages too. I mean, like when I run our games, those are like the only 2 things I have in front of me, and they have everything you need to know except for the injury chart. Except for that one chart. Everything is there. Beautifully done. So anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, and hope you're having a great day and staying safe. We will catch you guys next time.
And actually, real quick, if you've got any questions about creating characters for 5 Torches Deep, drop us a comment. Type it up down in the comments here below. Or if you just want to say, hey, it's awesome, type it down there below. I guess what next coming up, we're going to do an encounter with 5 Torches Deep using rules out of the book with this character.
Yeah, we'll run a little quick session. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So if you're excited for that, put that little thumbs up, like let them work. We'll have the little thumb war 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, my thumbs are like overactive thumb upping. But like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry, I'll shut up.
No, it's good. That's what I'm supposed to be saying. I always forget. Oh, good stuff. All right, I'm rolling the credits. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And like Joe said, please tell us about your 5 Torches Deep encounters below. We want to hear about it.
Yes. I had a character lose an arm, and they were not even 1 torch deep.
Yeah.
Still on the surface.
Deadly like a fox.